So building a PC in 2026 feels like a bad idea. Prices are incredibly high, part supply can be unstable, and every headline makes it feel like you've already missed the best time to build. So the question is, should you wait? Should you hold off? Or is that just maybe what exactly everyone else is telling you is getting wrong? I mean, here's the truth. PC building isn't broken in 2026. However, in this current economical state, it is just so much harder than it has been in previous years. If you can understand that, you can still build smart. Here's what most "is PC dead" conversations miss. A PC isn't a console. It's not a PS5 or an Xbox. It's a tool. Yes, some of us might just use it to mostly play games, but you can work from it, do content creation, editing, streaming, storage, web surfing. You can use it to learn, develop, do coding. A PC evolves. You're not just buying a moment in time. You're buying a platform. It will not come to a shock to most of you that a PC can do all of those things. And that scalability and that variety you have is incredible power. And that goes beyond so much more than just gaming. Let's split this out properly and put you both in two groups. Group 1. If you already have a PC and it plays your games and your settings and you can be relatively happy with it. It can run your software without slowing down, it handles your daily tasks, then I'm not gonna lie, 2026 is not the year to rebuild out of boredom. Marketing will always make you feel behind. Benchmarks will always show something faster. But performance you don't need is money you didn't need to spend. If you haven't hit a real limitation, then just stay put. Optimize first, upgrade small before upgrading big, and replace one component at a time before replacing an entire platform. Just make sure you're intentional. So, if you fall into group number 2 and you don't have a PC at all, it can be a slightly different conversation. If you need one for gaming, work, study, or whatever it is, all of the above, you can absolutely still build one in 2026. But you need to pick one of 3 clear strategies to help you do so. So let's take a look. The second-hand market is absolutely full of AM4 systems, DDR4 kits, previous gen GPUs, Intel 13th and 14th gen platforms, and financially, you can expect 20 to 40% discounts versus that original retail price, sometimes even more. And that can be some really serious savings. Anyone who's been in the PC building game long enough has probably already been down this route. It is a common trend that as we move through these upgrade cycles, we pawn and sell our previous components onto the used market or to family and friends. That money there helps fuel the ongoing costs of buying new parts. It's a part of the circle of PC life. And this is just an absolutely great way to get into PC building right now, whether you're looking on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or wherever it might be. However, as good as that can be, I think we do have to acknowledge the risks that are out there. In almost every situation, you're not going to have any warranty in place for these private sales. There is definitely a much higher risk of being scammed on the used market. We've seen of late people trying to send out fake DDR5 and DDR4 rated kits, altering the stickers on the back. So when you get it and you open it up, it's not the kit you actually ordered. Also, another thing to bear in mind, you do not know the usage of that previous product. Back during the GPU shortage and all of the crypto mining rigs that were set up, you didn't know if that GPU had been on for the last 12 months straight being used to crypto mine and effectively reducing its lifespan, which ultimately means there's a greater chance of failure. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go down this route, but you should go in with your eyes open. Only buy used if the savings justify the risk. If you're saving £20, I mean, to me, I probably just wouldn't bother. But if you're saving £150, £250, now that's conversion, right? The takeaway for this approach should be used only makes sense when the discount is meaningful. Otherwise, you're just accepting risk for no reason. Now, to try and help you here, you should always make your purchases through buyer-protected platforms. If possible, always make sure that you can visit, check out the quality of the product, and see it in action first and performing. Most genuine sellers won't mind doing this for you. And if the price looks too good to be true, it probably is. Check out their feedback, check out their profiles. It is not that hard these days to spot these AI fake setup profiles. So just be vigilant if you're going down this path. So strategy 2, looking at mature platforms. This is where I think most people should probably be looking. Not necessarily at the used market, not bleeding edge, but previous generation platforms that still can be sold brand new. So in this case, we're thinking AM4, DDR4, think those Intel 12th gen or 13th gen on DDR4 platforms and boards. These platforms are still relatively lower in cost. They all have stable BIOSes, stable memory support, they're often cheaper boards, and you're buying proven hardware. Now, I'm not going to say they've been totally unaffected by sort of these price increases that we've seen across 2026. DDR4 is still considerably higher than what it was, but it is nowhere near as impacted as a DDR5 kit right now. Motherboards do seem to be intact and still can be found relatively low, and you can still find a whole host of previous AM4 CPUs and older Intel CPUs at relatively decent costs. And depending on your settings, they're going to play games and be able to complete production tasks just fine. However, with each of these strategies, there's always going to be a downside. The money you save here, you may spend later on. Because we're starting on an older platform, when it comes to upgrading, you're likely going to have to replace your motherboard, your memory, and your CPU together all at the same time. So the question becomes, do you want cheaper now or flexibility later? If you don't plan to upgrade for maybe 4 to 5 years, then this is an incredibly smart route. The takeaway for this approach is mature platforms are for builders who want value today and accept a full rebuild later. I think the other unsung part here is that these parts perform just fine. There are many people gaming on these parts right now in all the latest AAA releases. Heck, there are people playing the new Resident Evil on a Steam Deck. If a Steam Deck can play the brand new dropped Resident Evil game, then so can these older platforms. Don't be guilted into thinking just because you haven't got a 50 series card or you're not on AM5 with a blazingly fast X3D chip that you can't have a great experience, because you absolutely can. Now, strategy 3. This is going to be looking at the modern platform, but this is going to be coming in at entry level. This is the long game. It's start on the platform, but don't go in high end. Recognize where you need to spend your money, and typically that would be your GPU for the bulk of your budget. But when it comes to the processor side of things, come in looking at these 6-core CPUs like a Ryzen 5 7600 on AM5. It's a very, very sensible starting point that's much cheaper than if you're trying to come in on the latest and greatest 9800 X3D. You want to be pairing that with something like a B650 board. If you can, try and find 16 gigabytes of DDR5, but 32 gigabytes is going to be where most people are going to be pushed, and try and just balance that with the GPU. That should leave you with stronger performance today and future upgrades without replacing everything. Yes, you might pay more than starting off on AM4, but you'll be spreading that cost over time instead of rebuilding in 3-4 years. The upgrade flexibility will be a lot kinder here for you. Now, the takeaway for this is modern entry boards might cost a little bit more now, but they're going to reduce disruption later. But just remember, if you're going to go down this route, just don't fall in the trap of future-proofing at the top end, not without realizing that you're going to be overspending for a lot of parts. So 2026 isn't a bad time to build. It's just a bad time to build without a strategy. If you're upgrading because you're bored, then wait. If you're upgrading because marketing made you feel outdated, then definitely wait. If your system genuinely just can't do what you need it to do anymore, or you need a PC to do any of it, then you can build, but just do it intelligently. This channel isn't about chasing those spec sheets, right? It's about building something that can make sense for you. Now, here's the thing. PC gaming has always been expensive. That's nothing new. What's different now is everything is up. Everything is up around us. And each of these decisions is going to cost you more. So, should you build a PC in 2026? Yes, if you need one. No, if you're just chasing something new. Now, I'll leave some of my recommended parts in the description below so you can see what each of these strategies actually can look like. And in the next video, I'm going to be looking at building a PC for under £1,000 in 2026 with this exact mindset in mind. So if this has helped you, drop a like and subscribe, and don't forget to build smart. The point is here, I do not want people to be scared of PC building. This hobby has consumed my life, and it will consume yours too, but just do it smart and save the money and put it in the right place.